Good morning, kids! Thank you for letting me not do the call last night and do it today. I wanted to go live in the group page just because I thought whoever is able to get on can hop on and listen if they want to, and then that way it's just in the group and you guys can listen to it throughout the week. But I did have a really good thought, and it was just really more like I don't know. I was just sitting looking at my remote control the other day in my office thinking, do I want to work out or do I want to watch Friends? Do I want to work out? Do I want to watch Friends? Because I have all 10 seasons on DVD because I love it. And it's how I work the best when it's on in the background. And anyway, so I was looking at my remote and I just kept thinking to myself, you know what? Like, this is such a great analogy for coaching because, you know, there's only a select few buttons on this freaking remote, but there's like, that we actually use, but there's a million buttons on it. So what I did as I was looking at it was, you know, just sort of related it to coaching a little bit. And I thought it was an easy reminder since we all look at our remote controls at least once a week. If you're like me, it's like a few times a day. I mean, let's be honest, I like watching TV. It's what me and Mike do to relax. But I kind of watched myself navigate through my remote control and I was like, okay, what do I do? First thing, I go to the menu, right? And I figure out what I want to watch. I go through all the different things and I was like, you know what? Coaching is kind of the same way. Like our menu button, the first thing that you need to know or figure out is where you want to go, right? So with coaching, when you hit your menu button, what does that look like? It brings up the business plan, the leadership ladder, success club. It brings up all these things, rank, that build the business building activities. And you have to kind of decide what you're going to do, right? You have to know where you're going before you can actually play the game or watch the show or whatever. So with your menu button, where do I want to go? What do I want to do with coaching? That's number one. You got to figure that out first. The second thing you do once you've figured that out is you hit select, right? Menu. Okay, this is what I want to do. And then you hit select and it brings it up. And what happens? You get all this information about that specific thing. So just for the sake of this little lesson, let's just say you want to build your rank. Okay, so when you hit the select button, all this information comes up about rank and how to do it and what you need to do in order to hit it, right? That's our training. That's the liftoff. That's our game plan. Okay, your select button is your game plan, your goals, and your why. Okay, you have to have those things set in place before what? Again, you can go into motion. So you've hit your menu button, you know where you're going, you've hit select, so you know how to do what you want to do and what's next. Right? It's putting the plan in motion. This is where most coaches are like, I don't know what to do. But it's super simple. Just like your remote, you selected, now you just got to hit play, right? So play for us is the 4 vital behaviors. To put your plan in motion, okay? And this is where I think it gets confusing because what you've selected, you know, is usually much bigger and much broader than just the 4 vital behaviors. But I'm telling you that the 4 vital behaviors are they're what's going to get you to that bigger place. They're going to get you to that big goal. And I think that's why it's so confusing because it really is that simple. And it's just like clean eating. I think about this a lot where people are like, what do I eat? What do I eat? What do I eat? I'm like chicken, broccoli, and a vegetable. Like chicken, broccoli, and a potato. Like chicken, broccoli, and rice. Chicken, broccoli, and this. Like clean eating is so simple that it's complicated. You know what I mean? And it's so simple that people like freak themselves out because they think that it's got to be some crazy, complicated, difficult thing because it's so hard, right? It's so hard to eat clean. But the actual act of clean eating is pretty basic and pretty simple. And it's the same thing with coaching. The actual acts that we're doing are very basic, very simple, but they're hard. And so it's just a little bit confusing. So your play button, when you think about coaching and you think about your coaching remote, is putting your plan into motion. It's your 4 vital behaviors. And that's so important. Now, those are the main 3 buttons that I want you focused on. Okay? and I'm just going to give you part of this lesson instead of the whole thing. I think we'll continue part of it next week, but those are the 3 main buttons that I want you navigating most of the time with coaching. Now, there's 2 buttons that I want you to avoid completely, and then there's 1 button that I want you to use as needed, and that's the pause button. Okay, so what happens in our business often is you need to take a pause and refocus and regain your ego, right? And maybe go back to that root menu, maybe go back to that select button and figure out again, where am I at? What do I want to do? What feels right to me now? How can I re-game plan, remake my goals, and push play again, okay? Why do we push the pause button? And when do we push the pause button? This is what I want to really just reiterate because, again, our focus and where we live with our remote should be within those first 3, our menu, selecting what we want to do, and then play mode, right? Just go. So the pause button, this for me happens when A, I need clarity, B, I'm lacking a little bit of consistency in some area and I need to like regain that focus, okay? It happens when things get out of balance a little bit and I have to refuel myself. It happens when I need to get back to the basics, right? That's a pause button, okay? There's a difference between pausing and stopping completely. That's why there's 2 separate buttons for those things on our remote. The stop button, you guys, when your business stops and when everything stops for you, it's usually because of you and nothing else. It's usually because of some thing you are unable to overcome in your own personal life. So that can be ego, self-esteem, lack of confidence, lack of personal development. The stop button and the pause button are very different. And I think those 2 things are what I really want you guys to take away from this and decide for yourselves. Am I in stop? Did I push stop? Or did I push pause? Okay, because a pause is a temporary halt. A stop is a final one. There's no, you know what I mean? You're stopped, you're dead, you're stagnant, you're not going anywhere. So with pause, there's just I need to take a breath for a second. What did I want to do? Let's go back to the menu. Let me figure it out. Okay, where was my game plan? Okay, I'm going to push play again. And there you go. Back into putting your plan in motion and hitting the play button. Okay, so again, when you push pause, this is when you need to become more consistent, when you have sucked with your workouts and you need to get back to them. This is when you take a few days, a week, to really focus again on those vital behaviors and making sure you're hitting each one of them so that you can get yourself back into play mode, okay? You have to have clarity in where you're going to make this work. If you are timid about your goals, if you are inauthentic about your goals, and you're just setting stuff to set stuff, it's not gonna work. It just won't work. I've seen it a million times over where people get into that select button and there's so many options, or they hit that menu and they're like, okay, do I build rank? Do I hit Success Club? Do I work for the leadership ladder? Which one should I go for, right? All of those things are kind of connected. So it's good to just master one thing at a time, at least in my experience. For me, I started with rank because I knew that that was the place of most potential financially for me and for my coaches and for my team. And then I mastered Success Club, and then I mastered the leadership ladder. So that's sort of how it went for me, just kind of naturally. And I think the best thing to do is figure out what works best naturally for you. If Success Club is something that you can grasp onto and master, do that first, because then it'll build your confidence and show you that you can do something, and then you can choose your next step. Okay, so I've mastered Success Club. I have all the information, I have all the tools, I know how to do it, I've got that locked down. Let's go back to the root menu and let's see what else there is for me to challenge myself with. This is what is so exciting about this, is you don't have to do everything at once. Okay, keep it simple, keep it balanced so that you have the fuel, so that you hit the pause button less, right? And you hit the stop button never. So the stop button again, and this is where I want you guys to identify when you're going through different phases of your coaching, because for me, that stop button is like death. And it's always because of my own insecurities, my own ego, something that I personally am having a hard time getting over, lack of personal development. Because personal development, and I've been talking about this a little bit, gives us the tools to help other people, right? It also gives us tools to help us become better. But what I'm discovering is it also helps us adjust and transition as our business grows, because your business isn't always going to look exactly the same year over year. If you're growing and you're trying to make something of this, right? You don't work your business the same way you did as a brand new coach when you're 5 years in. Your business is completely different. And so that transition of figuring out, oh my gosh, I can't have a 5-hour conversation with every single person like I used to, is confusing. You think that you're doing something wrong as a coach when really you're just seeing the growth, and you haven't been able to adjust well because you're still trying to run it like a small business, but now it's bigger. Does that make sense? So the stop button is really the most avoided when you do a lot of personal development, because it arms you. It arms you for the things that are going to come. It arms you for when your business grows, for when different personalities sort of influx into your business and you've never really dealt with those kind of people, or you've never really learned how to manage different kinds of people, right? I never did. I didn't go to college. I was never a manager of anything. I always just sort of took care of myself in all of my jobs and was able to succeed because I personally was responsible for my own success. But when you become a coach, you know, it's just a natural kind of thing for us to take the success of others onto ourselves, and that's a lot of pressure. So doing personal development is really what gears you up for that. It arms you, it protects you, it gives you the confidence, the self-esteem that you are on the right track, that you're doing it the right way, and it's just through trial and error. One thing that Carl Deichler said at Summit that I loved was, nobody taught me how to be the CEO of Beachbody. I just learn because I am the CEO of Beachbody, right? And I love that because he just fails forward. That's what everyone does. Nobody knows what they're doing. It's just trial and error, right? And then the things that we do know or that we have experienced, we share to help you guys avoid those things. So I appreciate being able to be a part of The Wall, which is a group page for the 5-star diamonds and higher. And all of the corporate team is in there because I get so much perspective on the level that I need, where they can beat down my ego and say, no, you have so much more to do. Like you're just a little baby coach still. And it really helps bring me in and keep me focused. So, okay, so knowing the difference between pausing and stopping is really important. Pausing is okay. Pausing is necessary. Pausing is temporary, and pausing should always be brief. Okay, what happens when you pause a show on your TV? Mine, after a while, is like, you haven't been active on this for 4 hours, and it shuts off, right? If you stay in the pause mode for too long, it's gonna automatically default you into the stop. Okay, so just remember that. Here's the 2 things that I want you to avoid on your coaching remote. Number 1 is the rewind button. Why is that? My favorite thing that coaches say is, I'm going to take a step back to focus on me. Whenever I hear that from a coach, whenever I see them writing it, whenever I see it in my business, in my own life, I really struggle, because our job and what we're trying to do here as coaches, and to help other people and to help ourselves, right? Most importantly, to help ourselves, is to move forward. So when you're physically saying, I'm going to take a step back, right? That immediately says to me, okay, when you're ready to step forward, you can come back and work with me, and I'm here and I'm happy and I'm ready, right? When your coaches say, I need to take a step back and focus on me, it's just because they have a lack of understanding or balance or schedule or something going on in their life that they can't manage. So it's important as coaches to help us. And this is with our customers too. I had to take a step back from my workouts. I had to take a step back from whatever. When anyone says that to you guys, I want you to go into action hero mode, and I want you to say, no, Do you want to move forward or do you want to step back? And they'll say to you, I want to move forward, but in order to move forward, I have to step back. And you can immediately say, how does that make any sense? How do you move forward if you're stepping back? Right? This is something I want you to get out of your own mind and stop saying or thinking to yourself, and also to help other people when you see that, to get out of that mindset, because that mindset is so detrimental. You don't need to take a step back. What you need to do is take a step forward and be more consistent and get balanced and do the things that are lacking in your life so that you can get to where you need to go, right? And it's really our job to help people focus forward. So as coaches, when somebody's like, oh my gosh, I went on vacation, or I got injured and I had to take a step back from working out, you can say, okay, well, you're back from vacation and you're not injured anymore. So are you still taking a step back or are you ready to move forward? Like, it's calling people out on that is so important. The rewind button on your remote, I personally feel like is one of the most detrimental, because for me, and I'm just going to kind of read what I wrote down for this, because I was like, okay, when I hit the rewind button in my own life or my own journey, what is happening? What's going on? The rewind button is your excuses. The rewind button is your life being out of balance. Your rewind button is inconsistency. It's lack of personal development. It's repetitive training. Okay? How many of us are like, oh my gosh, I need to do that training again. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to invite. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. Yes, you do. You do know how to do it. You're using the training and needing more training as an excuse. But how do people learn the most? Through application, right? You can read a million books, but until you actually apply the information or you teach it or you use it, right? It's not going to sink in. It's the application that teaches you. So if you've done the lift off and you've done the fly training and you've done the ascent training and you've done the soar training and you've done all the Beachbody training and you're on the national wake up call and you're on the team calls, you've done enough. You know how to do it. You're making excuses for yourself to not do it. You're avoiding all of the things, right, that are going to push your play mode, to get you in action, to put you in motion. And it's because it's hard. That's the hard part. That's when your ego is stopping you, right? How many of you guys have not done something because you were afraid? What I learned very early on, because I was a very fearful kind of person and somebody who was very affected by comparison and other people, was when I decided to become a coach, I was done with that. I vowed to myself I would not do that with this. I will not compare myself. I will keep going. I will not quit no matter what. And I will not allow my own personal downfalls and obstacles to hurt other people, right? And what I mean by that is when you become a coach, so much of our business is inviting, right? And I would even say our whole business is inviting. Our job is to make fitness fun and to get people interested in this lifestyle. And that's it. Super basic. I can't do that if I'm constantly afraid to invite. I can't do that if I'm not willing to do those things and invite other people and bring them in. If I'm caught up and hung up on my own self and my own ego and all my issues and all my stuff, it's not going to work. I have to put that aside when I'm in coach mode and think about the people that I'm trying to help instead of thinking about all the things that I suck at, right? I start to remove myself from the equation, and I would go into my coach mode, my alter ego, my Jace, who is afraid of nothing, who doesn't compare to herself, who is super confident, who's a 15-star diamond coach, who's rocking it, right? And this was my mentality when I was a brand new baby coach and had nothing. And that's how I did it. I pretended to be the person that I wanted to be right now. Because why not? You know what I mean? Like, the fear is the rewind button. Push play. Do your vital behavior that removes fear. What is that? Personal development. Okay? one thing that that happens with a lot of coaches, and I've seen this a few times, is they blame coaching for their self-esteem, their lack of confidence, their lack of everything in their life. And it's so interesting, but like, they become a coach and then they're like, I was doing so good until coaching, you know what I mean? And then they're like, all of a sudden, like, I'm super aware of all these things that I'm bad at. And it's because coaching forces you to become self-aware. It's not coaching that's the problem. Your problems have always been there, right? Coaching is actually helping you find the solutions to those things. It's making you aware of all of those things that you can fix. But what's cool about coaching is that it also says, you know what? It doesn't matter what it is. We can improve. We can get better. We can fix it. We can help other people fix it. We can change. One of the most amazing things that I learned through Beachbody is that people can change. I believe that with all my heart. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how set in your ways you are. I don't care how innate something is in your personality. 100% I believe that if somebody wants to change and they have the commitment to do it, they are committed to that change, then they will change. I believe it with all my heart. And that's why I invite, no matter what, every single day, because I changed, right? It's that belief in the process. So I will say what Gary Vee said and say, have you lost faith in the process? Or are you just impatient that it's not happening for you in your time frame? Because this isn't about you when you are talking to somebody in a conversation, trying to help them get into the tools. They're not buying it on your time frame so that you get a Success Club point and you get commission. They're buying it in their time frame when they're ready to commit and when they're able to say, Jace, I commit to this change and I understand that process so I can relax, I can help navigate them through it better, and I can keep inviting so that I've got a constant pipeline of people that are in different places of that invite process at all times, and my business doesn't stop. It keeps going because I keep going. Does that make sense? Your rewind button is probably the most detrimental button that there is because, and again, it's important to note the difference between stepping back and going backwards and just pushing pause for a minute. There's two different mentalities, okay? Pushing pause, I feel like, is a forward thinking mentality. I'm watching this show. I don't want to miss this. This is like the best part of the show, but I have to go make my kids breakfast. So I'm just going to push pause for 1 second and then I'm going to come right back and jump back in because I just can't wait to see what happens next. That's the pause. Okay? The rewind button is, oh my gosh, I missed something. What did I do wrong? I skipped that part. I wasn't listening. I wasn't focused. I wasn't paying attention and I missed that. Wait, what? Stop. I want to rewind it and rewatch it. Do you guys see how different that is? I want you to think about that with your coaching because it's just such a simple analogy that it will help you progress forward. So the rewind button, again, repetitive training. If you've done the training, then go back and do it more individualized. So if you're struggling with something specific, go and try and look in those trainings and find something specific on that topic that you're struggling with instead of redoing the whole entire training and overwhelming yourself and thinking, oh my gosh, okay? The other thing is, if you're moving forward and you didn't complete the liftoff, but you're hitting Success Club and you're inviting people and you're getting coaches and you're excited about your business, who the freak cares if you didn't finish the liftoff? You're doing the work. That's way more important than saying, oh, I finished it, right? Know yourself. Know what you need and put yourself in motion. Push that play button, which is the 4 vital behaviors, every single day, and it will keep it very simple and you'll start to progress, okay? The other button that I feel like is really detrimental is the record button, okay? This can kind of go either way, but for the most part, the record button to me is procrastination, right? It's those coaches who are doing their 4 vital behaviors, but they're not challenging themselves in the 4 vital behaviors. They're not pushing to go any farther. They're not, they're just sort of comfortable and just stagnant. They're not really growing. They're not really declining. They're just kind of maintaining, right? The record button, what do we use that for on our remote? when we can't watch something right that second, we hit record and then we get to it when we can. It's not a priority, right? And that's really how I want you to think about that. Is coaching something that you're just recording in your life, that you get to when you can, that's convenient for you, that when you feel like you want to engage, you do, and when you don't want to, you don't? I've been there with coaching, for sure. I've gone into maintenance mode, but I try and not be in that mode. I like to live in play. Now, here's the most exciting one. I like to live in play, and I like to live in fast forward. Okay, so this is another really cool kind of mindset, and this is how I think. Okay, I'm in play. I know what I want to do. I selected the information that I need to learn how to do it. I pushed play, and I'm doing all these 4 vital behaviors. All right, already. What's next? Let's keep going. What else can I do? That's me. I want to fast forward this. I want to get through the commercials because I want to see what's next. I want to see what's on the other side of the commercial break. I want to see the peak of this reality fight that I'm watching. Somebody's going to spit in somebody's face. Somebody's going to smack somebody. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to see it, and I'm going to see it fast. So I'm going to fast forward through all this crap and all these commercials, and I'm going to get there. That's me in a nutshell. Okay? Your fast forward button is Success Club. It's advancing in rank. It's committing to your responsibility as a coach. It's prioritizing your business, and it's becoming a stronger leader. Okay? The fast forward button isn't for everyone, right? Not everybody wants to fast forward. But for the people that do, this is something that's really important to note, is that there is a fast forward button, that you can push it, and it's there for you if you want it, right? I posted a note in the wall yesterday, and if you guys weren't on the call a little bit earlier, Ashley said, everyone's coming on late. Yeah, you guys can listen to it afterwards. But I posted a thing in the wall yesterday just talking about how to stay motivated around unmotivated people. And I think one of the most key things that I've learned, because you guys are all going to deal with this with your customers and your coaches, is not everybody is unmotivated that isn't moving forward. Does that make sense? I think what the coolest part about this coaching opportunity is once the system is built and once your coaches understand really what there is to offer, okay? Here's the box. You can take any part of it that you want. You can push play, you can push fast forward, you can push rewind, you can hit pause, you can record, you can hit stop. It's completely 100% up to you. And wherever you want to live, right? As long as you're happy, you're thriving, you're content, you have your needs met, you feel good about yourself. I don't care where that is on that menu. Okay? Identify where you are the happiest and where your sweet spot is with coaching. For me, it's play, it's fast forward. That's where I like to live. That's where I like to be. If I'm not in those modes, I'm uncomfortable. If I'm hitting pause, I'm uncomfortable. If I'm hitting stop, I'm freaking the flip out. If I hit record, I know that I need to do more. I know myself enough at this point, and I know where I work best, when I work best, and most importantly, you guys, I know what I want. I know what I want, right? I know what success means to me. I know what this business is going to do for my life and why I'm doing all of the things I don't want to do, but I need to do, that I have to do in order to get to where I'm doing the things that I want to do. I have to do things that I don't want to do in order to do what I want to. It's just how life works, okay? So one little exercise that I did that I thought was kind of useful, and then I'll let you guys go, is I just drew a little remote. And I wrote all these buttons on it. I wrote the menu, I wrote select, I wrote play, fast forward, rewind, the pause button, the stop button, and the record button. And I categorized all of these things in my business. And I identified the things that I'm doing, and I put them in those categories and said, okay, what's stopping me? What's putting me in stop mode? What things are on record right now that are just maintaining, that I'm not putting enough time or effort into, that are going to be more valuable to my business if I push play in them? What things am I rewinding? Where am I stepping back? Where am I going wrong? And where am I going right? Where am I moving forward? Am I pushing play every day? Right? How awesome is that? Now you can think about that in two different ways. Are you pushing play to do your workouts and consciously make a decision to change your life physically, right? And number two, are you pushing play on your remote and choosing to change your life financially? Everyone can help people for free. You guys became coaches so that you could create a business and an income helping people, right? Let your paycheck reflect your impact. That is an awesome thing. And don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise, because it's amazing to be able to help people for a living. It really is. So I want you guys to push play every single day, no matter what. Do your vital behaviors, do your workouts, get stuff done, be the example, show people why this lifestyle of being a coach is so awesome. If you're not liking it and it's leaving you imbalanced and unhealthy and unhappy, it's not the business, it's you. Fix it. Go do your personal development. Go figure out why you're in stop mode and why you're blaming everything else but yourself for what's happening in your life, because you are the only one that is going to change your life. And I will say, before I close, the girl that I was when I first started is the only girl that could have changed my life. The Jace that I am today did not exist. The Jace that I am today would never have joined a company like this. The Jace that I am today is not who I needed to be in that moment to change my life. That girl that I was when I started is my action hero, because she's the only one that took action in that moment. And it's the same for you guys. Wherever you're at, the person that you are right this second is the person that's going to save your life and save the life of other people. I love you guys. I'm so excited to see how you guys implement this. Write your remotes out, post them up if you want to, and I will see you guys next week, potentially. If we have Wi-Fi, we're going to be in Iceland. So I'll keep you guys updated, and I hope you have the best Friday.